Haven't all the greatest comebacks in mixed martial arts seemed impossible, if not laughable, until they were brought to reality? MMA is an unforgiving sport, where a fighter could be dominating for the majority of the fight, but a split-second error and it's nighty-night. That's why those with wisdom tell people to never give up, because every dog has its moment. Here are the most astonishing fighter comebacks in MMA history. We'll kick things off with the heavyweight clash between Pat Barry and Jake Congo. Kickboxing ace Barry had the edge in striking, and he dropped Congo early with a big right hand. Barry landed an avalanche of strikes as Congo flailed like a sky dancer. Credit where it's due, Congo refused to quit. Once he returned to his feet and cleared the cobwebs, Congo melted Barry with a counter right. Congo snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, and so did Anderson Silva in his fight against the undefeated and undisputed GOAT of MMA, Chael Sonnen. Anderson Silva was a force to be reckoned with in the UFC middleweight division when he crossed paths with the Oregon gangster, who absolutely steamrolled the Brazilian first on the mic, and then in the cage.
Guy walks around with a fake belt. That's insane!
The fight started with fiery exchanges on the feet. Seconds later, Sonnen rocked Silva with a sharp left hand. Silva cleared the cobwebs quickly, but Sonnen continued to land big shots. Sonnen secured a takedown and beat Silva into a pulp for the remainder of round one. The Oregon gangster rained down punches and elbows as Silva tried to make his way back to his feet. The third round was business as usual. Early in round four, Silva turned the tables on Sonnen, hurting him and then taking him down. Sonnen, however, recovered and reversed positions to continue his dominance on the mat. The American was up 4 rounds, and Silva fans had their hearts in their mouths as the fight entered round 5. In round 5, Sonnen capitalized after Silva slipped and dominated him on the mat for 3 minutes. 2 more minutes and Sonnen would have turned the world upside down, but as soon as he gave Silva a hint of space, Silva's spidey sense kicked in. He spread his web and caught Sonnen in a triangle choke that forced a tap. Sonnen wouldn't have tapped if he knew the rules better.
As far as the first fight, this is the truth. That was a misunderstanding of the rules. And the way I thought it worked was that if you tapped, you lost that round. So I thought what they would do is they go to a judge's decision, they go 4 rounds to 1, and we go home and I'd be the new champion.
Silva's comeback was certainly iconic, maybe even the best in some people's eyes, but it's definitely not better than the next one you'll see. Having lost to Kamaru Usman in 2015, Leon Rocky Edwards entered the rematch as a sizable underdog. The Brit was on a solid undefeated streak, but welterweight kingpin Usman was operating on another level at that time, so many were expecting business as usual. For the most part, the fight lived up to the expectation. Edwards started off nicely with kicks. Usman shot for a takedown and secured it after Edwards slipped while sprawling. The Nigerian then landed a couple of solid punches before the fight was back on its feet. Edwards then produced the biggest moment of round 1, tripping Usman to the canvas and landing in full mount. It was the first time Usman was taken down in the UFC. Edwards then transitioned to the back and spent the remainder of the round in that position.
Moments away from taking his back.
The second round was back and forth as Edwards landed some good shots. Usman responded with strikes of his own.
Usman really putting the pressure on him now. Wow!
Oh, nice uppercut from...
The reigning champ secured a takedown late in round 2 and won the round. In rounds 3 and 4, Usman controlled the action, taking Edwards down with ease and winning control time. For the majority of round 5, Edwards was on the back foot, but just when it seemed like he had nothing to offer, he did the unthinkable.
There it is.
No!
Oh my God!
Undisputed welterweight champ! The belt headed to the UK!
Pound for pound, headshot, dead. Widely regarded as one of the biggest stars in the fight game, the beast incarnate Brock Lesnar won the heavyweight title in only his 3rd UFC fight.
Round 2, heavyweight title on the line. Couture is down. Lesnar, he's a short little shot. Brock is the new UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Randy is still down. He got...
Lesnar made his first successful title defense against Frank Mir. In his second title defense, he almost lost his belt when he faced Shane Carwin. Carwin was an undefeated prospect with a 100% finishing rate when he fought Lesnar, and he put his brute power on display by badly rattling Lesnar early. For the remainder of round 1, Lesnar had his butt whooped. The pro wrestling and MMA legend was in deep trouble throughout, but he showed immense heart and resilience. Carwin beat Lesnar up so viciously that he was left gasping for air at the end of round 1. In the second round, Lesnar turned the tables on a tired Carwin and returned the favor. Lesnar took Carwin down and smashed him to win by a triangle choke.
Trying to stay very relaxed is Shane Carwin in the mixed martial arts world. It is all over! It is all over!
Lesnar lost his belt to Cain Velasquez in his very next fight, marking the end of one of the most entertaining title runs in MMA history. In another clash of heavyweight legends, Fedor Emelianenko survived a major scare when he clashed with Kevin Randleman in the Pride Heavyweight Grand Prix in 2004. Fedor was on a 14-fight winning streak and was a moderate favorite heading into the fight. Randleman, a wrestling phenom, was a seriously tough test for him. A few seconds into the fight, Randleman shot for a takedown and slammed Fedor to the mat. Fedor tried to explode his way back up, but was slammed in such a vicious manner that it would have left anyone but the Russian paraplegic. Many thought Fedor was done, dusted, but the last emperor flipped the switch and defended his territory with a lightning-fast Kimura. Man, what a roller coaster of a fight. The next one, however, is crazier. The rematch between Matt Hughes and Frank Trigg had it all, from controversy to non-stop action to a comeback for the ages. The welterweight title fight between the two started with a few early exchanges at range. Seconds later, the two got tangled in a clinch battle where Trigg landed some nice shots, including an unintentional blow to Hughes' family jewels that sent him crashing to the canvas. The referee missed the shot, but Trigg followed Hughes to the mat and beat him up for a few seconds.
Frank Trigg in a good position.
He then locked in a tight rear naked choke that turned Hughes' face purple. The champion refused to give up. Once he survived the choke, he reversed positions, picked Trigg up on his shoulders, and boom! Trigg was winded, so Hughes softened him up further with ground and pound. Finished the job with a rear naked choke. Surely, Dana's a man of culture.
It's over! Matt Hughes!
Derek Lewis is the king of punchlines, comebacks, and highlight reel knockouts.
You know, what round they rise and find that.
Lewis is far from technical, but he's gifted with raw power and timing, and he puts his skills on display against the towering Alexander Volkov at UFC 229 in 2019. The fight was one-sided for the most part. Volkov used his length and reach to pick Lewis apart. Lewis swung wildly after each Volkov combo, but to no avail.
Belly already hurts so bad.
In the second minute of round 1, Volkov badly rattled Lewis, but the Black Beast managed to survive.
Something might have hurt his
Volkov also had a lot of success on the mat.
crazy looking takedown he attempted.
To watch. Hammers. Oh, big takedown.
Early in the second round, Volkov again hurt Lewis.
Stiffened up.
Lewis covered.
Late in the second round, Lewis started to let his hands go. In round 3, Volkov continued to unleash his power on Lewis, hurting him in the second minute.
Not here though, that one
Hits
hurts.
the eye again.
In the final 2 minutes of the fight, Volkov fought at range and relied on kicks to keep Lewis away since the American was searching for a haymaker.
And that's how what Lewis has to do right there.
In the final minute, Lewis started landing. And just 20 seconds before the end of the fight, Lewis connected with the biggest shot of the night. If that wasn't enough of a viral moment, Lewis pulled off an iconic Hot Balls post-fight interview that broke the internet and became one of the top MMA memes.
I'm here with the winner, Derek Lewis. Derek, why'd you take your pants off?
My was hot.
I understand.
Bob Sapp is a freak of nature, and in his early days in mixed martial arts, his hulking persona used to scare the crap out of his opponents. A gigantic kickboxer who was a superstar in Japan due to his gentle giant attributes, Sapp started his MMA career in Pride, securing 2 wins, one in Yokohama and the other in Saitama, before suffering his first loss in Tokyo at the hands of Antonio Nogueira.
150-pound weight.
The way things started, Sapp should have won. Nogueira shot for a double leg as soon as the fight started, but was picked up and pile-driven to the mat. Sapp spent the next minute on top. Every time the two stood in each other's face, Nogueira went for takedowns. Sapp sprawled and then rained down punches.
Yeah, I've seen Bob Sapp at about 450 pounds with abs, so, that...
Nogueira managed to secure a dominant position 3 minutes into the fight. He then landed big punches that bloodied Sapp up.
Seconds left now. I don't. Oh, it's Bob Sapp. Oh, we got a.
Sapp mounted a comeback a couple minutes later, stopping Nogueira's takedowns and picking him apart on the feet before punching his face in with ground and pound. Nogueira continued to suffer a brutal beating as the fight progressed. Anybody else would have bailed out, but Nogueira continued to fight. As soon as the Brazilian found some space, he turned the tables on Sapp. Nogueira made the best of his positional dominance, softening up Sapp with ground and pound before finishing the job with an armbar. If you ever feel like giving up due to life's hardships, just remember how Big Nog did the unthinkable by conquering a scary beast like Sapp. Speaking of never giving up, Robbie Lawler had a very tough time dealing with a kickboxer of Melvin Manhoef's caliber when the two locked horns in 2010. Manhoef made his intentions known early. He punished Lawler with thudding kicks to the leg and body.
Usually they're a bit lower and it makes me kind of nervous. I like where they're...
When he got close enough, Manhoef let his hammer hands do the work.
Starting to ghost, Lawler has him up against the fence. Lawler shelling up, gets tagged with that way.
Manhoef's combos and kicks got more venomous as the round progressed. Each time Manhoef attacked Lawler with a leg kick, the American's leg swung wildly like a flailing tree. Lawler struggled as Manhoef beat him from pillar to post.
Manhoef's patient, Steven, you said it. Calm, cool.
Just when it looked like Manhoef was a few leg kicks away from stopping Lawler, the latter did this. No wonder why Lawler is nicknamed Ruthless.
Short overhand right, caught him right on the chin. The second one, the left hook, caught him right on the chin. And
Eddie Alvarez's one championship run wasn't very successful. After a horrible promotional debut in 2019, when he was knocked out by Timofey Nastyukin, Alvarez was booked against one of ONE Championship's legends in Edward Foliang. Alvarez was expected to win, but the Wushu master was still a very tough fight, and the Filipino proved why that was the case. Foliang started the fight with an inside leg kick. A few seconds later, the two swung for the fences and Foliang stunned Alvarez with a sharp left hook. Foliang added another flurry of strikes, putting Alvarez on the back foot. Foliang then dropped Alvarez with a brutal leg kick followed by vicious ground and pound. Alvarez survived the onslaught and turned the tables. Being the better grappler, he reversed positions with ease and choked Foliang out a few seconds later to dodge a major upset. Which comeback blew you out of the water?